Today I want to share with you my thoughts around the importance of your credit report when it comes to finding a property to rent. Now, a lot of you may have noticed that the rental market has changed quite a bit. It's become really competitive. And while working with a lot of clients, helping them find a property to rent, what I've noticed, a lot of clients are putting emphasis on proof of income, whether that be showing their pay stubs or showing any type of savings that they have. The main focus is geared towards proving to the landlord that they have sufficient funds to be able to pay for rent. Now, while that is extremely important and necessary, it's not the only factor to consider when applying for a property to rent. When working with my clients, the way in which I help them understand why their credit report is so important, I explain it to them in a sense that you can look at your credit report as your financial resume. So the same way you would provide a resume for a job that would outline your past work experience, your education, your qualification, your credit report provides that same type of information. So it would provide your past debt, your present debt. How do you repay those debts? Do you pay them back on time? Do you have any collections? Do you have any bankruptcies? So it provides the landlord with an overall profile of your financial behavior, how you manage your finances. The same way that a resume outlines your work experience and your qualifications. So when I outline it to clients that way, it kind of gives them a better perspective as to what the landlord is looking for and why they're looking for it. After explaining the importance of your credit report, I then explain to my clients where they should get that report. Because I've dealt with a ton of rental application and I've heard it straight from landlords what they prefer, what I recommend my clients to do is to obtain their credit report from Equifax. Based on what I've heard from landlords, they prefer a report from Equifax because it provides them a thorough report. They do not just want to see your score, they want to see an entire report so they can go through all of your financial history and make a decision as to whether they want to choose you as a tenant or not. One great thing about Equifax right now is that they're providing these reports for free. So if you go to consumer.equifax.ca, you just have to fill in all the information that they require and then you'll be able to get your free monthly report. The next thing that I want to share with you guys is the importance of making sure your credit report is accurate. So I never really thought to pay attention to any type of mistakes that would be on a credit report, but while working with a lot of clients, I've actually seen errors come up quite frequently. So I had a client come to me one day. They were in search of a property to rent. We went over all their documents. They explained to me that they're not quite sure why their score is on the lower side. They had not checked their report in years, and because they were in search of a rental property and this is something that's required of them, they decided to get their report from Equifax. Once they saw the score, they were puzzled as to why it was as low as it was, but didn't really think much of it. When we started to actually go through the report step by step, we came across a credit card that they actually paid off for 5 years ago, but it was not reflected on that Equifax report. It showed that that payment was still there. So what I decided to advise them to do is to contact the credit card company that they paid off the debt. And once they called that credit card company, they were able to ask for proof that they did actually pay off that debt. And once we obtained that proof, they were then able to send it to Equifax to show them that this credit card payment was actually paid in full 5 years ago and it needs to be corrected on the Equifax end. So once all that information was provided to Equifax, the problem was resolved. They did actually correct the mistake and the score did increase. However, it actually took 3 months for all of this to take place and to be corrected. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. In this situation, it did hinder my clients' chances of getting into a rental property because their score was affected pretty drastically. So I just wanted to share this with you because this is not something that has just come up once with me. It has come up with several clients that there were certain errors on their report. So I just wanted to share that with you so that you can be mindful to just make sure you just don't take it at face value and accept whatever score that they give you. Just go through the report and make sure that everything is accurate so that it doesn't hinder your chances of getting into a rental property or whatever purchase you're trying to make. This kind of ties into the last point that I wanted to make is that I encourage my clients to really be proactive when it comes to their credit report. Because if you're just going to, pull your score when it's needed, things like the situations that I just mentioned to you about errors and stuff, it could come up and then it does take time to fix, and then it can hinder your chances of getting to that goal that you're wanting, which is renting a property, for example. So I've encouraged them to just keep on top of things, especially if you know that you're going to pay off a big debt and you know that it's going to affect your score in a beneficial way. You're going to want to give it a couple of weeks after you've made that payment and then check in on your report. Make sure that it reflects that. Make sure that it shows that you've actually paid off that debt and that your score has now increased. Because the last thing you want it to do is to hinder your chances to get into your rental property, especially in such a competitive market. I hope these tips were helpful. And if you know anybody that might benefit from this information, please feel free to share this video with them so that you can help them get into that rental property a little bit more smoothly. I'm also working on another video that will be sharing my experience with helping clients get into a rental property with a lower score. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next video.